All right, guys, let's see. Sorry, this is take two. I guess. Um, all right, we are gonna. I have been undecided between using the live broadcast feature here within Workplace, which is essentially the same as Facebook Live, versus going through Hangouts or another uh, webinar service. So apologies for the technical difficulties, but it looks like I'm not going to be able to both broadcast my face and the presentation. So today you will just be getting the presentation. So follow me into presentation mode. And I was also hoping to be joined by my good friend and first senior advisor for the Hero Foundry, Dwight Turner. I really hope to bring him on soon and share his story. He's a really, really close friend of mine. We go back to college, actually. So that's probably, gosh, at least 12 years ago. When I first moved to Thailand, Dwight was my main contact, my main, friend in the country, and really connected me with hundreds of people in Bangkok and across Thailand, and opened up that experience for me in an amazing way. So, we've been close friends ever since. I spent a lot of time with him in Bangkok back in 2008, 2010, especially. And he, over the last 10 years, has built a phenomenal organization of his own called courageouskitchen.org. Go visit them. They're based out of Bangkok. Actually, I suppose the 501c3 that he and his team have built over the years is based in Atlanta, Georgia, but they do most of their work on the ground in Bangkok, Thailand. And they're working on some really, really amazing projects for those of you who are not already aware of them. So go check that out. But one of these days soon, Dwight, I hope to bring you on and share your journey of what you've gone through over the last 10 years to build the amazing organization that you have. So, but thank you guys for joining me today. I see there's four of you on. Give me a shout. Let's see who's around. Thanks for joining us. I've been doing a few real short broadcasts over the last couple of weeks, just gearing up and testing things out. Again, it's taken us much longer than anticipated to deploy the Foundry. Originally this was called the Hero Project when many of you signed up and supported us over going on 2 years, I think, a year and a half, something like that. So I know that we have kept you guys waiting for a very long time, but believe me, what we have in store for you is very, very worth the wait. So thank you guys for being on board. Thank you so much to all of you who, expressed your belief in what we're doing very early before it was even clear what we're building. But I really appreciate having all of you guys along for the journey, and we have a phenomenal program planned for you in the coming months. So I'm really excited to kind of get this kick-started finally. It's been a long process, but it always is. So today, this is the first time I'm sitting down to give you a presentation. So there are going to be a few hiccups as this is my first screen share. But thank you for your patience, and I know that you'll get something out of this if you have a short while to sit down with us. So thanks for making time today, guys. Brandon, what's up, man? Thanks for being here. Christopher, awesome to see you, buddy. Dwight, again, thanks for joining us and bearing with me. I'm sorry I couldn't have you on here live, but it's awesome to have you present. So today, hopefully this will not run for too long, but I wanted to begin step one before we even really dive too much into precisely what the Foundry is and because that incorporates so much, it encapsulates so much in the grand vision. So one of the things I will be presenting to you next is a deeper look at the long-term vision, but we're here, we're now. So I thought the first thing I should do is to share with you guys some of the founding principles behind what drives me and therefore what motivates the organization we're trying to build, and some of the founding principles that I guess I'm structuring this entire course on. and the doctrine that we will be rolling out to you guys over the coming months. So today I'm going to present my 5 founding principles. And let's see. Yeah, so welcome guys. Thanks for being here. The Hero Foundry platform is what you see today. You know, we finally decided after 3 years of experimenting and running into lots of roadblocks with different platforms, different learning management systems, we finally settled on something developed by the Facebook team. It's called Workplace. So we've got our own beautiful social network. And part of the idea, again, I'm gonna delve further into specifically how we'll be using the Foundry in the next video. But one of many things, you know, I mean, this is primarily, it's a community. The Hero Foundry is a space. It's a conversation. It's a conversation about education, about learning, about growth. And so one of many of the benefits to you guys is this space. This is a private place. It's 100% data secure. We are never going to invite any advertisers into this platform. So I wanted to create an alternative. You know, a year ago or so, probably longer, but I started to realize, you know, myself, I saw it in myself. I was so distracted by social media. And I know it's so easy these days to think that you have to be on there all the time, whether it's just to keep in touch with people you care about, or whether you use it for marketing, you know, etc. But it became quite a distraction for me. And I didn't want to, you know, one of the elements of our program, it's of the utmost importance to create a space where we can have community and where we can connect with others and find, you know, collaboration partners, accountability buddies, and people to help encourage you, mentor you along the way, cheerleaders, people to support you. So, so today I'm going to go into some of the principles so that ideally we can start to build a great community together. You know, this is something we've been working on for 12 years. It started as Thrilling Heroics, as many of you guys know. Some of you probably were inside Digital Nomad Academy with us, which has been going on 8 years now. So we've worked with thousands of personal development junkies and entrepreneurs and people just starting out, launching their own businesses, people trying to grow. So this is kind of the next evolution of everything that I have been studying and building and experimenting with. And actually my experience goes back at least 15 years, but we have been kind of creating communities and building this platform for the last 12 years. The biggest element that you're going to benefit from is association with other people. You know, we do have supporters and volunteers and backers on 6 continents. So you guys are here from the very beginning, and I hope you're as excited as me about that. But we are about to rocket launch off into a beautiful future. So welcome. Thank you guys for being part of this. And I really sincerely appreciate all of your guys' support and your help and your faith along the way. So the conversation today is about principles. And what are principles? Some of you, I'm sure, you know, think about principles and know exactly what I'm talking about, and some of you may not. So this is actually just a quick definition from Wikipedia. A principle is a concept or value that is a guide for behavior or evaluation. So in our case today, our principles they're guidelines. They're, you know, yeah, more like guidelines really, but more than maxims, but recommendations for how to conduct yourself and values to keep in mind as you participate and interact here in the Foundry. So to carry on from Wikipedia again, in law, a principle is a rule that has to be or usually is to be followed or can be desirably followed or is an inevitable consequence of something, such as the laws observed in nature or the way that a system is constructed. So today we're breaking down the Hero system for you guys from the very beginning. The principles of such a system are understood by its users as the essential characteristics of the system, or reflecting the system's designed purpose. and the effective operation or use of which would be impossible if any one of the principles was to be ignored. So these aren't like hard laws. There are some ground rules, of course, that people can violate, and that may the consequence may end in your termination, but I doubt anyone here is going to run that risk anytime soon. But anyway, today I want to share with you the guiding philosophy behind what I'm trying to create, what we're trying to create, and hopefully give you some insight into the Foundry's purpose. So before I dive into specifically what our guiding principles are, I did think today's a auspicious day to talk about founding principles and the foundation of this community. And I want to incorporate you guys into that, because yesterday, I know not everyone, of course, like probably a minority of people in this group are actually American, but for those of you, my fellow countrymen, I've just recently moved home, brought my son and my wife to America for the first time, and we are dabbling. We're trying to figure out what we're doing still, but we've spent about a year here, and we're considering, resettling in the U.S., which is a big prospect for us because my wife is from the Philippines. But anyhow, so we just celebrated 4th of July yesterday, which is American Independence Day. Some of you, I'm sure, saw my article yesterday about just thoughts on what that means, independence and freedom, especially after my nearly decade traveling the world looking for my own kind of freedom. So, but I was really thinking about this yesterday about I'm not a huge, nationalist by any means. I mean, I've traveled like 1/3 of my life and never actually thought I would move back here, but the education system's pretty good. So we're back here primarily for our son. But anyhow, yesterday as a thought experiment, I was thinking deeply about the Declaration of Independence, as I kind of come back to that every year, and I think about the founding fathers, and that document really represents a community of people that came together. Some people, even still, will call them traitors because they technically were back in 1776. So what they decided to do took a tremendous amount of courage and fearlessness, and they couldn't do it alone. They could not do it alone. So it took a community, and they came together, and they collectively decided this is the purpose, this is the target, the vision we're aiming towards, and these are some of the principles we're going to follow. And they created a new country. That's quite a feat. So regardless of your feelings about America or its current state or any of that politics, but I still believe it's one of the most recent and well-documented case studies, I suppose, of cooperation and working with other people to do something unimaginable. So I still find it's taken on a mythical aura over the last, 242 years, but it's they are a certain kind of hero to look up to. So before I dive into what I have come to over the years as the guiding values and principles that I'm building on, I just want to ask you guys, do any of you think about principles? It's okay if the answer is no, but what are your guiding principles and values, guys? If anyone has any thoughts to contribute, just go ahead and throw it in the comments. Let me know. Do any of you guys, have a short list of a few things that matter most to you, what your priorities are, what you keep your mind focused on as you move through life, as you build your business, or as you make career decisions? Does anyone have any guiding principles in their business? Feel free to just share whenever you can. Yeah, Brandon says family first. That's definitely one of mine as well. So the part of, actually, if you see on the picture on the screen right now, that is my son, Christopher. It's about almost 2 years ago, actually, but at the King's Royal Palace in Luang Prabang, Laos. Yeah, so this all started when my son came into the world. He was an unexpected gift, but yeah, radically changed my life and forced me to become a better version of myself. And he is my reason to continually kind of sharpen the sword and improve myself. Um, Christopher says, all the time, my guiding principles are to seek value and happiness from within and supplement it from the outside instead of the reverse. That is spot on, man. That is deep right there. That's nice to hear. Thanks for sharing. Yeah, this is one of the many principles or one of the, ideas that we will be sharing and encouraging and reinforcing here. You've got to start with yourself first. So the whole system I've devised over the last 3 years that I will be enrolled in here is about starting with the man in the mirror. If you want to change the world, if you want to change your family or your business, you've got to start with yourself. Dwight says courage. Yeah, buddy. Okay. Thank you guys for sharing. So here is a real quick glance at the five. I spent the better part of a year when I really thought about this. I was like, oh, we've got to have, some guiding principles, some not quite rules, but some very line in the sand values that we can all kind of agree upon and keep in our mind to drive us forward and to prevent things from going off track. So here's the quick rundown. I spent so long, I looked at from everything from the ancient Stoics to philosophers to modern day psychologists and let me think. If you have been with us thus far, if you look inside the dojo right now, you will know, like, for the last, what is it, 40 some odd days, one thing I started with you guys is just every day popping in one of these Kekich credos. David Kekich came up with 100 credos. So every day I've been sharing one of those as something to meditate on because they're phenomenal. I also Jordan Peterson has a new book out called 12 Rules for Life, I think it's called. But originally he distilled that from his list of like 40 principles to live by. And they're all great. And I'll share that with you guys because I think they're I wouldn't necessarily implement every one of those, but they're each a really interesting thought exercise. And I've started to read. There's a book by Ray Dalio called Principles, and that's a phenomenal one. I don't have a copy of that with me here, but anyhow. But I wanted to simplify. All things simplify. So it was important to narrow things down to the few most important priorities, and these are them. This is actually, I wrote, these were in a slightly different form, but these were kind of the directives I created for myself. When we came back home a year ago to the US, I knew it was going to be the hardest thing I have ever attempted to bring, my wife from overseas and try to go through the immigration process and try to readapt to the American way, and et cetera, et cetera. And we had quite the last business fell apart, and we had financial troubles and all kinds of challenges along the way. So we were in a deep, dark place. And we're still clawing our way out of it. But when we first came, for about a year, these essentially what you see before you now have been the motivating directives in my life, and that I shared with my wife and with our family. And so I've distilled them into a translation that will work for building our business and our community upon. But these are the main values. There's number one, cooperation and collaboration. That's the biggest value, is to connect with others. Teamwork makes the dream work. Together we can achieve all kinds of things that we can't do isolated or alone. Number two is positivity. Okay, that's the difference between, I want to create an alternative for you guys. I want to make a place where it'll give you the same, shot of, what is it, the happy drug in your brain. I forget right now. But I want you to have that same kind of interaction that you have become addicted to through Facebook or through Twitter or wherever you spend your time. Only we're going to focus it on positive, productive conversations. So that positivity is one of our highest values here. And I would say the way, if you struggle with positivity, as I have in the past, the way to overcome that is through practicing gratitude, which we'll delve more into. Number 3 is a future focus. I mean, while at the same time remaining present, but in your goal setting, in your beliefs, in your stories, we exist to help you move your thoughts and your concerns and your worries, out of the past. Get rid of that bullshit. Get rid of that baggage. Get rid of the stuff that's already happened that you can't do anything about. Because most people on earth are always stuck in the past. But here, we're going to help you develop a future focus and obsess over your vision for the future. Because no matter where you're at, what level of life or the game you feel you're at, everybody wants more. Everybody wants to grow. Everybody wants improvement. There's always something to improve, whether for yourself or for the people around you. So we are my role for you here in the Foundry is to help you develop your vision, a big, grandiose vision, and I'm going to be training you. I'm going to be kicking your ass until you become a visionary. That's my job, is to help you be a visionary and supply you with the resources and tools and frameworks you need to chase that vision down. And so, of course, to chase it down, number 4 is action. And I've been guilty of this in the past. It's hard. That's the hard part. The rubber meets the road, right? But I'm going to be sharing all kinds of mental, what's the word I'm looking for? Mental models and frameworks to help you start to develop that action, the take action habit. We're going to be diving deep into habits, the behavior loop, and just crafting your discipline and your consistency. Because you got to do what needs doing. And lastly, is to have fun. Make it enjoyable. We're going to be working our asses off. We're going to be thinking about the future. We're going to be helping each other out in any way we can. And it's going to take a lot of hard work. But we're going to do everything we can to make it fun along the way, So these are some of the top 5 values that drive everything about what we will be doing here within the Foundry. I just wanted to see, Dwight, I saw your comment. Yeah, to add on to what he said about courage, he said, AKA stubbornness in the face of adversity. That's right. So that is probably the one thing that will tie all of us together, is if you're trying to make moves, if you're trying to improve, if you're trying to build something big or craft your own path through this life, the one thing you will face is adversity. So that is why we have these big 5 values. These are what the antidote to adversity: cooperation, collaboration, positivity, a future focus, taking action, and make it fun. Okay, so that I'm actually going to dive into number 2, which is positivity. So, all right, I'm declaring the law. I'm just kidding. But one of our guiding principles, our founding principles, is to think positive. Okay, so that means all kinds of things. And it's going to take months to dive into what that means. But a few keys are to be present. That's, as I said before, one of the goals here is to bring your energy out of the past. We're going to give you many exercises in the coming weeks to help you let go of some of that baggage and release some of the the negative stories that may be holding you back. We've all got those, and it's one of the hardest things in the world to kick that stuff, especially if you don't have help or a process to follow. But so, yeah, be present. Try when you're here in the Foundry, be present. Be here in the Foundry. Don't be dwelling on something that made you upset yesterday, or what how your mom is, or your whatever fight you had with your wife last week. There are times when you'll need to share negative stuff that you've been through, and that's fine. We are here for that. If you need help, if you need even just some support, some moral support, feel free to share the challenges that you're going through. But while you're here, the purpose is to build each other up, so try to look for the positive, and share from that perspective about what you're working towards, what you're grateful for, what's going well for you. Don't dwell on what's not going well for you. It's always a process. So trust the process. It takes time. You're not going to see, miraculous results overnight. Ever. Change, transformation takes a load of hard work. So it is a process. Sometimes it will feel like it is taking eons. Especially if you're building a business. Things, I still can't adjust my expectations, but the process tends to take 10 times longer than you think it will. But don't let that slow you down. Keep moving forward and just trust the process. We have a process for you, so trust what we're doing here. Stay engaged. Keep on keeping on. And yeah, if you need to, one of my biggest recommendations, if you struggle with positivity, if you got a lot of voices in your head telling you what you can't do, or that everyone's gonna hate you if you put this idea out there, if you say this, or if you share that, start to focus on gratitude. What are you grateful for? What are the things in your life that are going well? As I said, what are the things that you appreciate? What are the assets you have? Focus on what you like about where you're at. And the more you focus on what makes you happy, I promise you, as weird as it sounds, the more of that stuff will show up in your life. So we'll be sharing tools about how to practice gratitude, how to do a daily gratitude practice. My son is banging on the door. Chris, I'm working, buddy. Sorry, guys. You guys are going to get to see a lot of him around here. Okay. Number 2, big vision. I want to call this obsess over your vision. But first, depending where you are, we need to bring you up to speed and help you figure out what your vision is. I know a lot of people get bogged down by where they're currently at, and it's hard to think about the future sometimes. But that was one of my guiding principles for the last year that kept me going through so many hard times, so many colossal struggles. You guys are going to hear about it, but stuff you wouldn't believe. I just told myself every day, just focus on your vision for the future, and keep the faith. If you keep working at it, you can get there. It's just a matter of time. So to go along with that, we're going to be sharing a lot about the growth mindset. There's 2 ways of looking at the world. One is that you're just born and you have natural talents, or you don't, and a lot of people in my youth, I felt that way, I just don't have it just doesn't come naturally to me, or I'm just not talented at this thing or that thing. I never felt like I was athletic ever. So it's the first time in my life, the last couple of years, I've been slowly building my chops as far as fitness, but believe that there is a lot you can do to grow, and that's what we're here to share about learning, growth, and the process of how you do that, how you improve. We're going to talk about expansion, That's our purpose here on earth, is to grow and expand and improve. So we're going to be, the next week we'll be doing some we will be doing some goal setting exercises, and I'll be sharing my vision with you and my quarterly targets for the next 3 months ahead, and I'll walk you through some of that process. But once once you have your sights set on a target for your future, for your children, your family, your business, if you can envision a better future and a big purpose, then we're here to help you obsess over that vision, those targets that will drive you from day to day when things get hard. Number 3, do the work. Sometimes you'll see a hashtag DTFW, which is do the effing work. I'm going to try not to curse too much because we're going to try to build a family-friendly place, but DTFW, guys. You can, on the one hand, it's important to cultivate that huge vision to propel you forward. And it is important to think of the future and to be positive and to let those dreams guide you. But if you don't back that up with action, then you're not going to get anywhere. And I know what that's like. I mean, I've spent a couple years out of my life doing that at different points in my life. But so we're going to be deploying all kinds of lessons and processes to show you, well, to help you keep accountable to yourself and to find other people to be accountable to, but to create systems that will help you do the work. One of the keys there, one little tagline I think to keep in the back of your mind, just never ever quit. That's pretty much the key to success, is to never ever stop, no matter what anyone says, no matter how many times you fail, even if you fall on your face over and over 1,000 times. I've done it, but I will not stop. I've felt weak and considered it before, but the more I refuse to quit, the faster I move forward. But when you're getting started, start small. Don't go trying to pull miracles. It's not about hitting the ball out of the park. That's how you burn yourself out. That's how you'll push yourself to failure if you're just trying to do stuff that is outside your capabilities. But we're going to start here by building small habits, making tiny changes, and focusing on execution every single day. Just take small, consistent action on a consistent basis. And I was telling Emelina earlier in the comments on one of the threads in I think she commented on my daily metrics that I track, and I recommend, I'm trying to find it, but I don't want to get too distracted from you guys. But I said it's like compound interest, essentially. The same things they taught you in, if you've studied, investing or savings, it's the same idea with your habits. It's the same idea with sculpting your body or building your business or improving your marriage. Find small things that you can do consistently, and you'll be amazed at how far that can take you over time. Like compound interest, it builds on itself. Have fun. All right, and it's not just a fun thing to add in there, but I mean, this is important. I'm guilty of this often. Like, I get way too serious about stuff, and I will hyper focus on the challenges at times, and it becomes too easy to lose sight of like what's right in front of you sometimes. Like, yeah, the good stuff you have to enjoy. So if you're like me, if you've got kids, if you've got family, be thankful for that. Enjoy the heck out of them as much as you can. Something important to me as we build this business is to incorporate my family. So my wife is my number one supporter. She's my co-founder, and she's involved in every step of the way as we build this. So yeah, how do you have fun? Is you seek alignment with what is important to you. So Yeah, Brandon, you said family's important. Um, self-care is important to you. I mean, whatever it is, if you're an athlete, try to build around fitness. If you're a father, build around that. But whatever you do, make your work enjoyable. Take breaks now and then, share with your family and friends. Remember to smile. And on my family whiteboard for the last year, I said have fun and repeat every day, because I try to incorporate my family. I try to do things together with my son and my wife that will also help, me, whether it's just my own development, professional goals, or building the business, but do it in a way so that we can have a great time and have some laughs, and maybe be silly, and do that every day. So last, I'll come back around to teamwork again. Teamwork makes the dream work. This is something I tried to instill in my wife quite a long time ago, and it's made a big difference over the years. But here in the Foundry, this place is about teamwork. That's why we have a social network of our own. But I want to do this. I want to create a place for you guys, not a safe space exactly, but yeah, a space where we can support one another and uplift each other. Okay, so there are ways to be supportive, even if you think someone's off track, because we're all going to be off track at times. We're all going to have failures and challenges and setbacks, and we're going to screw up at times. But the Hero Foundry, this is an important one. This is a place to be positive and be supportive and encouraging towards one another. I don't want to see any nasty criticism. Constructive criticism is great, and you are going to get a healthy dose of reality now and then. You are going to get some tough love, so that's one thing. But no picking on one another, no belittling each other. No, we are not going to have any political arguments here. It's not about ideologies, but we're here to help each other on the journey, on our growth journeys. So it's a no judgment zone, and the law is to help your fellow, I wanted to say your fellow brother, your fellow sister, your fellow hero in training, aspiring superhero, your fellow traveler. We're all travelers here on the hero's journey. We each have our own path to follow. We're each on some kind of journey. We each have an internal battle, that we're waging. So keep that in mind. Everyone's struggling, but if you've got the energy, first focus on yourself, like Christopher said. That is one of the things we will be teaching here. But secondly is to look out for the person next to you. That's what we're here for, is to help one another. Let me check in. If you guys have any questions. Chris says something just came up and he has to run. I'll watch the rest on replay. Thanks for being here, man. Yeah, do what you got to do. We're going to be doing live broadcasts every week. And for now, I'm going to aim to do it on Thursdays. So there'll be a lot more of this. But yes, they will all be available on replay. They'll be here for the long term, so you guys can enjoy and rewatch if necessary. If you feel you'll get more out of it, you will. Carrie, thanks for being here. Great to see you too. Do you guys have any other questions about any of these 5 principles? Teamwork, cooperation, and collaboration. That's what we are here for in this space. That's why it was important to take the time to gather the right team, the right community. And it has been quite a journey. It's taken longer than expected, but I thank you guys all for being here and being part of this, and for your interaction and your enthusiasm. Positivity. Be grateful. Be positive. Practice daily gratitude. This is one of the things we'll be teaching starting next week if you join me and Dwight on our weekly call. Future focus, obsess over your vision for the future. That is what is going to drive you every day, because it will get hard, I promise. But we're going to be here to support you and encourage you on the way. And when you hit a roadblock, when you stumble, you can come here and seek support from your fellow travelers here on the journey. But remember to keep taking action. Do what needs doing on a daily basis. We will help supply you with some tools to help you do that. And have fun. We're going to make it really enjoyable here, I hope, in the coming months as things heat up. And we're going to kick it up a notch this next week, you guys. It's been a slow process onboarding everyone into the new platform and testing things out and figuring out our structure and our calendar, our schedule for the next few months. But we're about to kickstart next week. Every Thursday, you can find us here. Check your email for invites to weekly workshops, live broadcast, training, and we'll have a new. Typically we'll go on a much deeper dive. Starting next week, we have 12 upcoming workshops on the hero's journey, and we're going to go deep into each of the stages of the hero's journey and what that whole framework means, and how you can utilize it as a tool in your personal life, in your business, in your psychological growth, or in your fitness. So look forward to that. If you guys can carve out, an hour, 90 minutes on Thursdays, I'm open to your feedback if there's a time that works better for you guys, and we will do everything we can to custom cater around you guys so that you can be here live and give feedback. That's the whole purpose, is rather than just creating this stuff and putting it out there, I want to have you involved as much as possible. So we're doing everything we can to get the right people on board and allow the opportunity for a few of you guys to be central players in everything we're going to build here. So I already have a couple of you guys are going to be joining us next week, I hope, as I've been meeting every week for the last 3 months maybe with Dwight and occasionally with some of our other advisors. But this week we're interviewing, and we're looking to we've got 2 spaces left for our small, high-level mastermind group, and we're essentially looking for people who we can help accelerate your growth, your path, whatever goals you're aiming at, but who also have some value and want to be pillars of this community and help advise us as we build. And so if it interests you, we're going to be doing actually more. This is not going to be the platform, I guess, because I can't bring you guys on here live with me, but we will probably be using Hangouts and do a lot of our training in a way where I want to bring you on, and share your story. What have you achieved, or where are you at in your journey? What are the struggles or challenges you may be facing? And the whole purpose of the course that I'm developing and the process we're going to go through over the next 3 months is to show you it's a cycle. There is a framework. So wherever you're at, even if you feel like I was there about a year and a half ago, man, I was in the bottom of the abyss, and my whole world, and not only did it feel like it did, my whole world did fall apart. It crumbled. Okay, there was a time when I reached, I think, $4 in my pocket. Like, that's how serious stuff got at one point. And I was on the other side of the world. And whatever, in the end, we made it through. We found a way to pay the bills and pay the rent and survive and take care of our son and get him in school and relocate again overseas and even come back to the US and look at the prospect of like adapting to a much more expensive lifestyle than what we had become used to. But I mean, I was betrayed. I had money stolen from me. I had a lawsuit. I had, gosh, it all started to fall on me all at once. So I've been deep down in that pit, in that abyss. And that is why it's funny because actually, I'd been through that process a few times. And then my son came along and I realized, I need to really change the focus of my business. I didn't want it to be about simply freedom seeking. I wanted it to be deeper and more meaningful. And I wanted to help take you guys by the hand through this process of struggle and failure and, depression at times, because we all go through it, particularly those of us who choose to do big things with our lives or take big gambles, big risks. And if you're trying to build a business, or if you're like an author putting your work out there, an artist of some sort, anyone who is forging their own way through life, or self-employed, or building a business, or just trying to make big change in the world, you will face gigantic setbacks. And if you haven't been through it yet, I'm sure you have, but if you haven't, there's going to come times when you will feel like you fall deep down from what you built. And we're here to help make sure that you don't give up at that point. I've seen too many people give up. I mean, we've all seen it in the news too. So the important part is to realize that it's a process. Trust the process. And the Hero's Journey framework will show you that no matter where you are, whether you're at the heights of your career and you're feeling great, or whether you're in hustle mode and you're building and where you're going, you're going somewhere better than you are now. So you're feeling good, but it's a struggle if you're there, or if you're at the bottom. I've been there before. So it doesn't, any one of those places will show you, that it's temporary. It's part of the process. And there is a lot of gold to be found down in that, in the depths of hell. And I will show you how to get some of that goodness, the silver lining. Let's see. Yeah, Chris, of course, man, you're very welcome. He says, thank you for putting this all together. Thank you for making the time to be here and for committing yourself, to be part of this community, for sacrificing, for supporting us financially. But there's many ways to invest yourself in something, and money's just one of them. But I know some of you guys spend a lot of time here, and so I just want to recognize that. I know your time is valuable, and this is why I want to start with these founding principles and try to carve a community of people who have some shared values to drive us, because I really want to make sure to respect your time and do what we can to guarantee that you're going to get just a really positive experience here and get support here and feel boosted, So thank you guys for spending your time here and investing in others here, and encouraging each other. Okay, Chris, I'll be chatting with you real soon. Brandon says, glad I could hop on for this. So excited about this community. Got to take off now, but I can't wait for the next one. Sure, you're very welcome, Brandon. Thank you for joining us. Yeah, Chris, rock bottom, he says, rock bottom isn't as intimidating when you've already been there. People who haven't fear it, thinking there's no way out. There is a way out, but it requires climbing. Yeah, that's Christopher Wolf said that. That is a beautiful quote there. Nice quotable, but that's absolutely why we exist. That's why I'm here, because I've been through that challenge. That I've been through complete failure, many times in my life on several of my different businesses. And yeah, Dwight says he thinks I can't end it. Well, let's